Session for December 17th, 2019 at approximately 5:31 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Santiago.
Here.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Here.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Here.
Commissioner Udalvis. Here. Commissioner Cooper.
We all stand, salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any review changes to the agenda?
Yes, we had the addition of a closed session agenda item to discuss Millville Plastics redevelopment project under contract negotiations, attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. Presentations.
Okay, we had a presentation it was going to be Dr. Kim Ayers, but I think Gerald Velasquez is going to be doing the presentation for the CCIA redevelopment project on the 500 block of North High Street. You want to address the commission?
Doesn't look like Ken.
It's also known as 513 Buck Street because it encompasses, I think, the whole block. So you may see some materials that say 513 Buck if I have the street address right, but it's the same property.
511's on the back, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go back and then I'll walk through what you have in front of you. So
Mr. Velasquez,
I'm
you're
sorry.
very known to us.
Sorry.
But we're on TV.
Oh, lovely.
Please introduce yourself.
Gerard Velasquez. I am the president and CEO of the Cumberland County Improvement Authority.
Thank you, sir.
Just want to give you a quick background because I think it's important to kind of take you back before we move forward. We've been working with Holly City Development Corp. And the Housing Authority for some time. It's about a 4-year process. This building or this development is a function of the plan that was put together, the Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit Plan that was submitted by Holly City to the state and approved, and then again the second time around submitted for a second approval. So this is part of a larger redevelopment effort that includes the neighborhoods in and around High Street, also as part of the Wells Fargo neighborhood plans that were put together. So this is not something that we've been kind of came up with on our own. It was part of a lot of effort that was put into this by folks before the Improvement Authority to figure out where the hot spots were, what neighborhoods needed the most attention, and this was one. So we've been fortunate enough to acquire the previous Zelfies building, what was formerly the Zelfies building, and the lots in both directions. We have put together a site plan, and we essentially own all of the properties included in your packet on the second page. So we have on the second page a list of kind of an outline of all the properties that we currently own. The one property that we need to acquire is a property that the city recently foreclosed on, which is Buck Street. And we've been having conversations with Ms. Udalvis and her division for probably at least 6-8 months to talk about this site. And I reached out to the previous owner in attempts to purchase the property. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that. So here we sit in a position where we have the project put together. We have financing in place. We spent in excess of $450,000 of Improvement Authority money, along with a couple $300,000 in NRTC grant money to put this thing together. So we own the properties. We're ready to move forward. We have plans. We have specs. We have a site plan. And we're prepared to move forward and simply need the city to agree to turn that last remaining property over to us. That property will be demolished and become parking for the larger redevelopment project. We believe this creates a great entrance into the city. On the front page and what you have up in front of you, when you come down High Street from the shopping area, on the right-hand side, the mural will stay. We're going to create a nice open park area there, so you'd come in, nice statement for the city. And we will attach about a 10,000 square foot building to the Zelfies building that will be used by Complete Care, and that would be fully occupied. We do have 3 plus or minus 1,000 square feet that could be utilized by another tenant. I know there was someone else interested in our building. I reached out to that person and explained to that person that unfortunately this project, this building, 511 Buck Street, is part of the larger project, but we certainly would work with anyone interested in trying to find an alternative site, potentially move into this or other spaces that are available throughout the city. So, again, it's pretty clear cut. It's a $6 million investment. It's NRTC money, which is Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit money, which is a state program. It's New Market Tax Credits, NMTC. So there's federal, not federal, there's private equity coming into the deal to make this work. So it's important, obviously, that we get your support to move this project forward. Any questions? Happy to answer.
Yeah, I just had one. The property the city owns, that's 511 Buck Street is the address.
Correct.
Do I understand correctly that the city foreclosed that property, I think, at the request of the CCIA, so that that property could be made part of this project?
That's
Do I
correct.
understand that?
Yes.
So that's the only reason we have title.
Right.
And actually, to also expand upon that, in a memo that was dated Thursday, 12/12, that was sent at 5:13 p.m. to the City Commission, it did outline the history of the project, in addition to the fact that the note that the foreclosure was initiated specifically for this project. We did not own the building previously until 7/2 of 2019. So in July, we did obtain the building, and also there was an access agreement that had come before the commission as a resolution in order to allow for an environmental survey to find out about the property itself and to also have that impact study done. In terms of also, in addition to what Mr. Velasquez has also given us as the history, the Millville Urban Redevelopment Corporation began working on the redevelopment concept for this block several years ago with commercial, retail, and housing components. The CCIA was working with Complete Care, and the two projects merged and were redesigned to a commercial concept that will be heard before the Planning Board in the upcoming months. The CCIA has taken the lead to develop the project and assemble the financing. The total project cost is $6.6 million. The Holly City Development Corporation has dedicated neighborhood revitalization tax credit funding towards pre-development costs, which has allowed for site design, environmental studies that the Commission granted the CCIA, and Marathon Engineering Access Agreement on August 20th, 2019, and architectural renderings. The CCIA is seeking the new market tax credit financing for a majority portion of the project, and Complete Care will also be contributing. The 511 Buck Street property sale to CCIA in the amount of $1 will be the city's contribution to the project, with the expected economic development returns downtown. In addition, concerns about the structure itself that may be raised in terms of whether this is a property that is salvageable or whether it is one that would be best suited for demolition has also been the topic, because once again, that would be a cost that the CCIA would be incurring through the redevelopment of the project and would be at no cost to the city. So those are some of the other components that were considered by the department throughout this procedure as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it. Any other questions for the CCIA?
Make a couple comments. I mean, I'm grateful for this project. It's going to be an enhancement to the gateway to the city, what we really need, and to see so many partners in the Holly City Redevelopment Corp, CCIA, et cetera. It's exciting to see these changes come to the city and how it's going to put us on the map where we need to be. So I want to thank all of you who are involved in this for being part of something that I think is going to be great. Also, a revitalization of a center city area is also very important. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Jerry, once again, thank you for your time and energy and your expertise to move this project along. It's been ongoing for a number of years, as we can all share. But to see this design today, it's been a lot of hard work by a lot of great people. And it just goes to show you how the state, county, nonprofit agencies, Holly City Development Corporation can all work together to make this happen. And that's the type of teamwork that we need to help promote the city. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful building. It's an entrance into our city. It's one more block, one more cornerstone that we've talked about as an anchor. And, I just can't wait to put the shovel in the ground, get this project moving. Again, I just want to thank you personally for your work.
Well, as you said, a lot of hard work from a lot of people.
Yeah. Yes, it
We
has
kind of
been.
picked up after folks were kind of at their last
We've
limit
had a
and
lot
said,
of meetings on
"Here,
it."
you take it." So
Yeah. Looks
it's
great, Jerry.
it's going to be a big deal, we believe, for the downtown.
Anyone else?
Well, Mayor, actually, I would also like to add, in terms of, for those commissioners who have been present for the neighborhood planning process that's been in conjunction with Wells Fargo, this actually creates the opportunity to have a healthcare facility that's in the Center City neighborhood that is within walking distance to so many of our residents for whom transportation could become an issue. For those of us who might work in public services, whether it's in schools, whether it's in law enforcement, we realize the impact of not having transportation to get to clinics like Complete Care that will offer that free care, whether it's dental work, for an abscessed tooth, or whether it's something else that a child or an adult should need medical care or attention. If transportation is an issue, that this is once again part of the neighborhood plan that's making those services and those essential services accessible to all. So it's very much an impact, the fact that this is a Complete Care, and it's one that can also change the landscape of the community as well. So once again, thank you for your abbreviation and your explanation of the project.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Jerry. This is really something beautiful. It seems like everyone working together on this really put something really nice together, and it's going to be a nice gateway to the city to come in and see this project coming together there. So I want to thank you again for working hard on that. I just have one question about the old Complete Care property. Does CCIA have any interest in that at this time?
Not at this time, sir.
I stumped him, Mayor.
We have another building we're interested in, as you know.
Okay. So that's
We certainly are willing to work with the city in whatever capacity. We can take a look at that and, come up with some ideas with respect to that building as well. I think with respect to, Ms. Davos's comments, you're going to get a first-class facility here that's going to provide health care for the residents in the neighborhood. So that's a big deal. I mean, it's going to be, as she said, it's, first-class dental and other services are going to be provided there. So it'll be a big step up and an enhancement for the service delivery here in the city.
And Complete Care is all out of there. They're moving. Everyone's out.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it.
Jerry, I'm not surprised. This is the kind of quality that CCI puts out. Just look at Cumberland County. Look at Vineland, the police building. Look at Bridgeton, what you've done now. You finally landed in the city of Millville. So we're very, very happy for what this project is going to bring to the city, and how happy, as the commissioner stated, our local people in that central area of the city are going to be able to walk there to get, those needs handled when they need to, dental or whatever it is. But I'm very excited about it. This looks beautiful. It looks great. And as the vice mayor said, when do we put the shovel in? I mean, that's exciting.
March, sir.
Very. All right. That's very exciting.
I know you're all saying, given that this credit goes to all the folks that came
Yeah,
before
absolutely.
us. So want to make sure, for full disclosure.
No, absolutely. I don't want to
we're-
repeat myself, but everybody else already said it.
We're certainly happy to take it to the finish line, but there was folks ahead of us that got this going and
Absolutely.
made this happen.
A great team effort.
Yep.
But thank you, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jerry.
Okay, moving on. Public comment on agenda items. Anyone that has a comment on an agenda item, please step up to the mic, state your name and your concerns, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tim Cardy, Millville. I have a question about the work session resolution with the meeting with Mr. DeSantis. And my question is, I guess it's more of a legal question. Since Commissioner Pepitone is obviously very friendly with Mr. DeSantis, is it ethical for him to be part of the closed session meetings? I mean, he did tell us the story 2 weeks ago that him and Mr. DeSantis were together. They went camera shopping. They played cops and robbers. They went to Wawa.
Mr. Carter, you sent me an email, and
Yes.
so I had a chance to look into this before the meeting. And the law is pretty clear that if it's a mere social friendship of some sort, that would not be a conflict of interest under the law.
Even though if they're still discussing the possibility of this? I mean, obviously, because Mr. Pepitone was in the property, they were taking pictures. I mean, he had a lot of information. I just feel maybe on a moral standpoint, maybe Commissioner Pepitone should excuse himself from these meetings. Because myself, I don't feel comfortable, and if it falls through, what legality is it against the city? Can we be sued?
Well, we can always be sued. I mean, that's, anybody in New
Right.
Jersey can sue anyone for anything, you know, and that's true. It's not just a truism.
Because, like I said, I mean, they're pretty friendly. I mean, if I was in negotiations with one of my contractors from work, or if one of my contractors and me went out together, I wouldn't be able to work on that project because of ethical standards. Mr. Pepitone, if you have some morals, I think you would excuse yourself from the talks on this.
Thank you, Mr. Cardy.
Good evening, Kirkfield Bill. I wasn't even planning on talking tonight. I'm supposed to be eating dinner with the others. I hate amendments to agendas. I'm going to say something, and some people may take it right, some people may take it wrong. I guess it's going to be closed session again for middle plastics, whatever it is. I got one question. This has been ongoing. There's starting to fights over, not fights, but bitterness over it. Maybe it might just be time, like a Christmas present. You just come out of the closed session and see what has to go on in there. Add a resolution to vote for it. Either voted no and have it done, or voted yes and take it out of the commissioner's hands and see if, bear with me here, see if the person that wants to own it and development, let him put his money where his mouth is, and he'll have the responsibility of the property, seeing that it's been shown that, like last meeting, it's pretty dangerous. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I close the public comments on agenda items. Moving on, Madam Clerk, old business.
There is no old business, Mayor.
Discussion of commissioners. Commissioner Cooper,
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Pepitone,
Not at this time, Mayor.
Commissioner Udalvis,
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Parent,
Not at this time, Mayor.
and we'll go right into new business, because nothing for me either.
There's no new business, Mayor.
All right, public comment portion. We have now reached the public comment portion at our meeting. Anyone would like to address this commission, please go to the podium, state your name, and address your concerns, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sean Thom of Millville. First, I just want to thank everybody who put all the work together to redevelop that 500 block of High Street. Looking at those pictures, the first time that I've been able to see it, and it looks incredible. I think there's a lot to really be excited about for our community, for our city, and we're going to be able to do, especially with the complete care facilities for the services that so many people in our community so desperately need. As a former educator of Millville, I absolutely understand that. Better than most. So I want to talk to you today. We started an educational nonprofit back in October of 2018. We started that after Maurice Lewis was murdered here in Millville. After he was murdered, a victim of gun violence, an innocent victim of gun violence, we worked with his family, peers, and community members to create plans to work towards making his life mean something. You knew Reese was the kind of kid, 19 years old, who always bettered the environment of everybody around him. He was always there for everybody. We wanted to kind of do that. So his family members and the people in our community, my former students, we wanted to do something and do more. So knowing that building a youth center was something that was going to be a long effort, we started a small game. We started doing programming for our kids. We started an innovation hour that we held throughout the summertime. We had 15, 20 kids come out on a pretty regular basis, and we just give them the opportunity to talk about the things that matter to them and allow them the opportunity to say, what do you want to do? And we supported them in that. One of the things that they ended up doing was having a back-to-school shoe drive. Back-to-school shoe drive, we picked up 350 pairs of shoes that we set up shop right in the middle of Center City, right there at the park in the Third Ward, out at the old Wade East facility, and we gave those shoes out to kids. We're hosting a holiday toy drive right now since Policeman Top is not operating in Millville. we've been looking for a building. We've been trying to find some sort of a facility. Now, 511 Buck Street building came up on our radar a little while ago, and we couldn't figure out who the owner was. This submitted an open request to the city, and found that the city owned it. After having some conversations, we then found that that was part of the redevelopment project of 500 High Street. Now, we understand this stuff has been going on for years. We know the amount of work that's been going into all this. Work that we can't even imagine that happened before our nonprofit even came into existence. We absolutely understand that 100%. What we are asking is for the commission to table this vote tonight at the open meeting. To table this vote for a couple weeks. Because we think I had the opportunity to actually tour that facility. And being in that facility and seeing the potential in there and looking at what it is on the inside, as well as looking on the outside, we partner with J. Bishop Construction here in Millville. And they want to help. I don't know if you guys know Jeff, but he's the kind of guy who, if he wants to do something, he's going to do something. We've got a lot of different partners, a lot of different organizations we're trying to work with. New Jersey, Office of the Attorney General is one of them. Now this building, this block, is literally a block away from where Maurice was shot. Now when you think about that area, that is also an area, a neighborhood, that is an area where everybody who lives in that area was a victim of violent crime. In so many different areas in Millville as well. Which opens up the opportunity for a lot of grants from the Attorney General's office, especially for victim grants, providing some social services. So we have ideas where we want to work to create ideas for a recording studio for kids. After school programs where we pick up where schools leave off. We want to focus on the emotional growth aspect. Now, a big thing for us is we want to be able to work with our kids. We believe that every single kid has the answer to all the problems in our community. We've seen that as an educator in public schools and now the correctional facility in New Jersey. I absolutely understand that. Kids have all the answers, but they're not given the opportunity. So we want to be able to give them an opportunity. If kids come with an idea for a business or a product, we help them get that off the ground. They need to help with opening up bank accounts or filing businesses. We do all that to help them. All right, so this is something that we've been debating and talking about for a while now. So while all this is beautiful, when you think about that space and that building that is that size, the potential for a building that size, knowing that lot and having seen that lot, there is still an ample amount of room for parking. To level a building of that size, a facility of that size in Center City area where there are so few commercially zoned properties seems like a waste. I'm not asking you to give us the building. I'm not asking, although we will pay $5, $10 for it, it's a little bit more than one. Say that in jest, of course. But we're asking you just to table the vote so we can discuss it and have those conversations. Maybe have some people, Jeff Bishop, some local people come in and actually look at that and determine. And then if we can't figure anything out, let it go. Give it to the CCIA. I'm just asking to table the vote. What you guys have going on is incredible. The project is incredible. You can't deny that, and I can't wait to see that happen. When it said demolishing that building, how about we talk about making that building a youth center for our kids and making that a part of the project, a part of the redevelopment, and a part of the chance to make that area of Millville even better than what it already is. And I emailed you guys some paperwork. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I also have copies that I can definitely give to you after this before you go into the closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Tom.
Thank you.
Well said.
My name is Paul Dice.
Is that
I'm
on?
the Executive Director of the Millville Housing Authority.
Is that on?
And also the Holly City Family Center. While we're talking about the downtown, I just wanted to make sure that the name Holly City Family Center is in your minds. I want you to know that you have a community center now. It's not as much of a community center as it might have been in the days of the Holly City Family Center. And yes, a lot of it is membership-based right now. But what we've been doing is moving in a steady progression toward having this facility, which is right behind the post office, right on Mulberry, between Buck and High, where you have a pool. You have
YMCA.
It's the old YMCA. So there you have a beautiful pool. You have a fitness center where you have an aerobics room. We had a new aerobics room built in 2012. So for Zumba and Pilates, yoga. There's a general purpose room that we can use. Right now, we are working with PAL, trying to get the kids in for the swim programs. We're raising children on water bodies, and we think that we can do more in terms of offering swim lessons, which has been a big part of what the Y started many years ago, and what the Holly City Family Center has continued for many, many years. So we're going to continue making that more of a community center, and up until now, it's been more membership based. But I just want to plant that seed. Last time I was given the privilege of addressing you, we sort of touched on that, but we touched on many things that night, and which is sort of an annual presentation of the Millville Housing Authority, of which the Holly City Family Center is a wholly owned subsidiary. So I just want you to know that we're open for business, for partnering with the city, with everyone in this room, with anybody who's got a program that might be able to work with kids. I think it's great. One of the things we're talking to PAL about right now is pairing children up with a police officer and then going and working out. That's a win-win. There's no doubt about it. And teaching kids how to swim, getting people in, having a better, increasing their level of fitness. So in case the Holly City Family Center, which is a New Jersey not-for-profit, wholly owned subsidiary of the Millville Housing Authority, I just wanted you to I wanted to not miss the opportunity to, while you're talking about the redevelopment of the downtown, to let you know that gem exists now. And I hope that we have the chance to work with all of you more, and anybody in this room, and anybody who's listening. So we're open for business to making the Holly City Family Center on Mulberry Street more of a community center than it already is. Just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
Can we make comments at this point?
We'll wait till everybody's done. Anybody else? I now close the public comment on agenda items. Commissioner Pepitone, do you have a comment?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for the information that you moving the Holly City Family Center to more of a community center. I think it's needed. I'm really glad to see a great facility like that is going to move in that direction. Mr. Thom, I've always loved the enthusiasm that you've had for kids from the time I've known you, and my kids were involved with you at Lakeside. You've always had a heart for young people, and I'm grateful for that. And the things that you brought up that you want to bring to the community center, anything from bank accounts to creating opportunities for kids to grow, I think it's phenomenal. Whether the dream of that specific building goes through or not in the way that you see it, I hope you don't lose the enthusiasm. We need individuals like you to be in our city to look for other areas if that is not the one. I will lend my support, in ways that I can. In fact, one thing that I would add, one of the things that we do where I work is career research for students, and a lot of times that in and of itself gives kids direction. There's a free program through NJCAN that I would be happy to work with you when things come together. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to thank you for the time that you've put out, to bring forth the ideas that you want to share for our city and the kids there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, if I may, Mr. Mayor. We're open for business. I know that, Paul. Thank you very much. And maybe you two guys can get together and work it out. I think that would be a great move, to be honest with you. It's a beautiful building. We have a lot of things to offer our young people in that area. I want to remind the folks also under the community center that we are developing through the Housing Authority. There's one more project that will be underway, we hope, in the future, and that's the library. Our brand new library will also be a community center here in the city of Millville. That's also going to be part of it. So there's a big plan out there, folks, that this administration has been working on. And I think what you're beginning to see is some of that work being done. It's actually happening. And it's been a lot of work by a lot of people to get to the point where we are right now. We have a brand new construction of 500 block happening. We have a community center through the Housing Authority. We have a brand new library, we hope, to get the state funding that. A lot of positive things are moving forward for us. So, it's great news tonight. Youth are very important. No one knows more than I do in working with youth. I've done that for over 40 years. And we congratulate the people like yourself who's out there working with our young people. That is so important as a nonprofit agency. And we have a lot of nonprofits working with a lot of people in this community, folks. You just don't hear about them and you don't see them, but they're out there every day working with people throughout this community. So again, I just want to thank all of them for the work that they're doing behind the scene. You may not see them at commission meetings, but they're out there giving their 100% in our communities. So again, thank you for your participation. Paul, I hope we can get together and make that happen, bring that youth group into that facility. I think that's something they don't have to worry about. They got a brand new building. They don't have to worry about getting people to build it and move on. We do have facilities. So thanks again, Paul. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Thon, thank you very much for being here this evening. I know I had the opportunity to briefly speak with you yesterday, and I know you've had previous discussions with Commissioner Cooper regarding the property. From a building perspective, I would like to just convey and read into the record as well something that's provided in the supplemental memo. The fire department had notified the Departments of Public Affairs and Public Safety of signs of water damage, deterioration of exterior block, unsecured windows, and potential structural safety issues during routine safety inspections in 2018. Meanwhile, the property had an outstanding municipal tax lien. It was decided, in light of the potential project, to strategically foreclose on the property in order to transfer to the CCIA for demolition at their cost, which would alleviate the city's liability, demolish a blighted property, as well as contribute to the new redevelopment project. So in terms of providing some of the background that we have regarding the building, I know that you had met with someone with construction background in order to take a look at the building to gather ideas. And I know that even from Mr. Dice's comments this evening, they've worked very, very closely with programs such as the Juvenile Justice Commission, which back last winter they had the opportunities to meet at Hollyberry Court and have those meetings and start discussions regarding how do you eliminate gang presence in a neighborhood such as that. So trying to connect all of these, we talk about it very often that Millville, while it may not have an official community center, requires a community center without walls, one that does not have limits because of the expanse of our center city neighborhood, but also one that we need to make sure we have those outlets for our youth to go to. Now, one of the items that we had spoken about, and this was something our city administrator and I had also spoken about, is the fact that back when you had done some of the CDBG hearings and you'd provided some of your comments, I specifically remember, because it resonated so well, that you'd mentioned wanting to teach holistically to the child, wanting to service and provide services holistically, and that you had even reached out to networks such as Inspira to see if there would be some type of a possibility in creating those outlets. So with a program such as Complete Care, at this point, with the planning board also being aware of the application that would be up and coming in January, February, or even March of this coming year in 2020, and wanting to ensure that this project is as comprehensive as it's been planned, this is an item that I would not be willing to table, but one that I do feel that as a city, while we cannot accept the financial responsibilities of taking on a community center and then having programs within that, one that we can certainly help and aid and assist local programs who are interested in finding a location to do that. So I do appreciate you being here this evening, and I appreciate, once again, the civil discussion and the strategies to trying to find ways to work out solutions. But I did want to also provide my perspective in having had the history of this background, and thank my fellow commissioners for listening to all different perspectives of this.
Thank you. Commissioner Cooper.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Mr. Dice. I had no idea that the Holly City Family Center is going to be opening its doors up to the community like that. I want to say that over a year ago, when we had this discussion, you had all the teenagers and all the students, and everyone came in right after what happened with Maurice, was such a tragedy. Now we have options. At that point, we had no options. And so what a difference a day makes when we can see where we've come from, where it looked abysmal at that point. And what I want to say today is thank you. Thank you for giving us options. Thank you, Mr. Velasquez, giving us options. And I don't want to discount what you're going through and how you feel about the situation, about this building. I don't know if it's going to be tabled, but if it's not tabled, I think what you feel here is a consensus that we're here to work with you. And if there's anything else that we can do to make this project a go, I think we want to do that. I think that's what we're saying. So now that we have all these options, now we have a good problem. We have places to choose from. Now we can go to the community center. Now we can maybe go over to the new Zelfies building with complete care. So I think there's options out there. I don't want you to be discouraged if it's not tabled. And I had a chance to go into the building with you. And I got to say, I was shocked, as you were, that it wasn't really in as bad a shape as we thought. However, that being the case, I think moving forward, don't let this be a moment where you get discouraged and say, I don't want to do this anymore, and not make it happen. We have several options. Let's look forward to dealing with one of those options that are available, and I think we can make this a go. So with that, I think we are not only just talking about progress now, I think we're starting to see progress now. As the Vice Mayor said, everything's starting to come to fruition. Let's continue to support each other, and we can make it all happen together. All right? That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Well, Commissioners, well said. But the best that I've heard is Mr. Velasquez, Mr. Tom, and Mr. Dice. When you're talking about partnership, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is right there. You had partners to get this building together. He needed a partner to get a building for our community kids, and Mr. Dice stepped up to the plate and provided that opportunity. Don't let that opportunity go away. And we stand here, I believe, as 5 commissioners to do what we can to support to get that going. Because as Mr. Tom said, it's very needed in this community. So thank you to all 3 of you, because I think it's a great day for the city of Millville. And I can say this, Christmas is today. Because if we go on and make this happen, it's going to be a joyful 2020 for our kids when they find out that this project is going to get started and it's going to move forward. So thank you to all of you that made those presentations, and thank you to the commissioners. Madam Clerk, I first have to close the public portion. And we did comments of commissioners, so let's go right to resolutions.
All right, we have a resolution authorizing a closed session for the following matters. A status update of various legal matters under attorney-client privilege, and Millville Plastics redevelopment projects under contract negotiations and attorney-client privilege.
Mr. Mayor, move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion?
Any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll be back, folks. I gotta get something to drink, though. I'm sweating.
Just need a motion to adjourn the work
Get a
session.
motion to adjourn. the,
So
work
moved.
session. Second.
Second motion?
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.